Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Dr. Macho video about Marvel Rivals. We're going to be talking about Magneto and why he is one of the best tanks in the game, in my opinion. One, we're going to get to his powers. So technically, Magneto controls metal, of course, as you know. But his ability to control metal leads to his damage output being very high. He has the highest damage output, in my opinion, of all the tanks, if you know how to use them correctly. Uh, and what we're going to talk about is his AoE, so his area of effect attacks, which is his normal attack, Iron Volley, which just fires normal. As you can see, direct hits deal more damage. If it also deals splash damage, which is very good. He's good for crowd control in that aspect. And we're going to talk about how he can essentially alter the battlefield with his meteor attack first. We're going to start with that. So meteor draws in, it deals more damage when people throw or fire more bullets at you. Basically anything that is a projectile in this game gets caught in it, and that increases its damage, which is extremely good. He has a shield effect. It is a weaker shield though, but it has no health, so it's essentially an invincible shield in a way. Um, Helps protect your teammates. Personally, I don't really like using it as much. Now, what's pretty good about Magneto is he can also shield his teammates with Metal Bulwark. Now, this works in an interesting way because it's essentially an invincibility shield for like 3 seconds. So, like, Iron Bulwark, that protects yourself against damage. It's extremely good for keeping Magneto alive, like I said. This lasts for about 3 seconds from what typically I see in gameplay. Um, and then Mag Cannon, I really like this ability, and I'm going to really explain this one because it's a little bit more complicated. Uh, so as you can see in the center of the screen, there is a kind of like arrows flashing forward, and when that charges up, that means the more damage it deals, and you're going to see a purple aura behind Magneto when that is fully charged. He can normally do it even without the aura, it just means less damage. He has a passive ability, just descending a little bit slower. It's kind of useless in my opinion, but can help, I guess, in some situations. This, in my opinion, is one of his strongest abilities, Metallic Fusion, and it's a team up with Scarlet Witch. You get a sword, and it deals. You can say it's a good crowd control and AOE attack. It's extremely good against, my opinion, against DPS characters and support characters, but not nearly as good against tanks due to their health. We can also talk about how in combination with his shield, he is, in my opinion, has the best survivability of most tanks in this game, besides maybe Hulk and, in my opinion, could also make a case for Doctor Strange. But in my opinion, his AoE attacks, his crowd control, and his ability to just cause the enemy team to go into chaos is what makes him such a good fucking tank. And he's just amazing at getting in the fight, especially when you have Metallic Fusion. He's just able to decimate an enemy team and can completely change the game. I mean, I will tell people that he's probably the best tank in the game as of this moment. Just because there's no other really good tanks like him. Like Penny Parker's good, don't get me wrong, people. Doctor Strange and Hulk are very good, but I still think Magneto, in terms of abilities, playability, and team synergy, he's just way better. So I'm gonna cut into some gameplay here and show you guys some ranked footage and some normal footage of him. Hello everybody, this is some normal footage gameplay. I'm not exactly gonna go for high kills this game, but I'm sure I will, given that it's Magneto. So I'm more just gonna be explaining the abilities as I play. As you can see, I'm helping try and support my team here. We're gonna be pushing point mainly because, of course, tankiness. We're gonna give a shield to Adam Warlock. Heal. And as everybody knows, and I think I'm gonna have to explain here, is that tanks are mainly meant for support roles. I don't really think getting kills with them is nearly as important as supporting the team. So you're not going to see me extremely going after people. I'm just going to be trying to use my AoE attacks to prevent them from being able to clunch up. And we're going to keep on, we're going to deal with the Thor here pretty easily, with keeping him low health so he can't help his teammates. We're going to give our Hawkeye a shield, prevent them from magic. So as you can see, I'm using him mainly as a backup for helping people get kills. You want to let your DPS just go in there and deal with people. As you can see, I'm not a big fan of my shield, so that's why you're not really seeing too much shield gameplay. However, I'm making sure to try and explain best as I can to all of you how this works. Of course, Thor is, in my opinion, one of the worst tanks for fighting, even though he did kill me, but that's just my opinion. So keep in mind, a big tip with Magneto, people, is you need to make sure you're constantly dealing damage. I don't care if you're right in someone's face, you just need to be always dealing damage, helping support your team like that, because that's how you get to the point. Without that, you're not going to be able to get to the point. You're not going to be able to cap, and that's how you're going to lose games. You need to have a tank that runs in, puts pressure on them, but you don't want to overextend too much. Otherwise, you're going to get kind of beamed by, I guess, Punisher, who thought he was smart going up there. So as you can see, preventing damage, taking the attention off our teammates, forcing them to focus on me is what's most important. Because if they're focused on me, they can't obviously kill my teammates, which means they're not going to gain control of the point. They're not going to gain momentum. We're going to keep preventing them. As you can see, we have our ability too. So we're going to use that because Punisher is right here, and he's going to, every time he shoots, he's going to feed that attack. And even if it didn't kill anybody, you're still dealing damage. That is what's most important. So we're going to help our teammate out there. Keep on attacking. Make sure they can't do anything on point. And that is going to be an easy first round. As you can see though, half that game I was making sure their attention was on me. That is what is most important. Taking attention off people. As you can see, we're pushing up a little bit too far here, so we're going to move back a little bit. Don't want to overextend with tanks, especially because of your slow movement. That can really screw you over. So that's an easy first round win. Alright people, let's see what we can do with the second round. Let's see if my team can perform as well. I'm going to instantly keep on moving forward with them. Remember, as a tank, you're trying to stick near people. You want at least, in my opinion, at least one DPS around you. Helps prevent enemy team from kind of getting the jump on you. And it also prevents their own DPS from trying to deal with you. As you can see, we're going to try and help our team out. And they use the most worthless. I'm going to go into that ability a little bit right there. Captain America's ability right there is complete garbage, and is why I personally think Magneto is a better tank. His special ability, so much better. Damage, way better. I did make a mistake there by overextending towards my teammates. That's a big lesson I'm going to keep on reiterating in this video. You do not want to overextend in general, but especially with tanks. Even though you got that huge health bar, I see a lot of tanks who like to overextend and then they get beamed because of that. With Magneto, you want to make sure you're not doing that. And coming from a platinum player right now, I'm able to kind of speak on that issue because I see a lot of golds and platinums even making that issue. So as you can see, we're going to keep on preventing them from getting a foothold on the point. Quick tips and tricks though against some other people. Against Loki, make sure you're killing his clones. His clones are extremely good, especially when there's multiple on the field. Then go into a little bit though on how to beat Magneto in your games too. because you can use some of these abilities against him. Like for instance, up close, Magneto is garbage against, in all honesty, against melee characters. Like Iron Fist will typically kill a Magneto unless he has backup. So don't get me wrong, it's good to think you can still be beefy against them. Don't get me wrong. This is not to say Magneto is useless against these characters. But as you can see, when I'm going against Thor and Captain America as their tanks, I am not able to block their attacks, and I'm just getting destroyed. Especially with no DPS around me. So that's one way you can counter him. The other way you can counter him is not really so much long range. As I went into detail, I would say Iron Man's a good counter against him. He's just able to beam tank killers. I call him a tank killer in my video. I still believe he is. And I believe he's actually really good against Magneto. But then again, all this relies on them even getting close to Magneto. You have to get close to him. And the issue is, if he's got the DPS, you're not getting close to Magneto. I'm sorry. That's just not going to happen. Especially when he deals so much damage and does AoE effects. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to get close to him. You're not going to be able to close that distance and kill him. Especially if you have a team that knows what they're doing. I mean, I've seen Magnetos that can survive because they're just getting healed by 2 healers. Like, and they just absolutely destroy the other team. He's just one of the best crowd control characters in the game. I think he's better even than Penny Parker in some ways. I don't, however, think he is... I think he's a good mix of all of them. He's way better than most. That's a for sure. But you can't assume everything with him. I mean, as you can see, I'm kind of feeding into the mistake of overextending a lot, especially with a Thor on their team. We're going to keep on making sure, though, to push that point now that we got backup. Retake it. We're going to deal with their healer over there. Trying to use my splash damage. Gonna deal with the magic here. Hopefully. Kind of getting cooked by her, not gonna lie. We're gonna hop back on point. And we lost that point mainly because of just not a good team comp there. I don't believe we did a really good job. I don't believe the healers were correctly healing, but that's another topic for another time when I go over in a different video about how to have a good team comp. And I will also talk about how to survive and get up to platinum rank. So we're going to wait for this next match here. See you in a sec. Alright, everyone. We're going to continue trying to win this game out. I want to make sure I'm leaving you guys with some good, especially for beginners. This is more meant for them, especially given the current state of the game. I want to make sure people who want to get into the tank role, which is a very vital role in my opinion, know what they're doing, kind of can make some assumptions for themselves. We're gonna do that right there. I did miss that ult, unfortunately, but Magneto's ult charges pretty quickly in my opinion. For a tank, I see typically a good 3 or 4 Magneto ultimates during the game. I rarely see many from other tanks, in my opinion. Unfortunately, my team is not getting on point here. So, can't really go too much on about how I don't really have any more beginner tips and tricks, but however, I will give some more medium, I guess, tips and tricks. When Magneto has all 10 of his shots in the clip, you should obviously be reloading. In my opinion, you don't really want to wait to use them as much. You want to be using all of them, but I typically like to reload my shots early as a tank, especially given that you don't know what situation you're going to get in. Like that, like an extra bullet or two can make the difference. especially when dealing with enemy tanks, which we are trying to do right now. So we're gonna get back on this point, try to get this bread. Don't want to end off on the loss for y'all, but I might. Unfortunately, oh, that's another good one. That reminds me of his other attack, where you can actually dodge Jeff's ultimate, and you can dodge any ultimate in general if you use his shield ability at the right time, of course. That is a bit of a harder trick to learn, considering that you do, with that 3 seconds you have with that shield, you gotta make sure it's precise or you're gonna miss it and it's not gonna work. So it's a pretty extra tip I can put in there. Other tricks I would say is, there are definitely certain maps that are better. Like I said, he's definitely the better tank though, especially when it comes to ultimates. When you're aiming his ultimate too, make sure you're actually waiting to throw it till like the last minute, because it gains more. It's technically like a charge up ult, you could say. It's not exactly going to do anything when you're sort of just doing when you throw it right away, but if you let it gain some damage, it will instant kill most DPS and support characters. That is a for sure. But yeah, so of course it looks like we're gonna lose this because of team comp, but I will say I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna be releasing a bit of a more if you want to learn really intricate details playing Magneto, for sure. I will be releasing another video on that pretty soon. I'm hoping to, and I'll have a bit of a better format for it, but so far I just kind of wanted to get this out there, make sure people know kind of how to play Magneto if they're looking into him, because he is one of my favorite characters in this game, and I have about a 75% win rate with him in ranked, so I am a very good tank player in general. Well, we're gonna see if we can win this. We do have a 50% right now, so I'm just gonna let the gameplay do the rest of the talking for y'all. Take care.